How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, thank you.
Okay, for people that don't know, just state who you are, what do you do?
Okay, all right. I am the Provost and Vice President for Academic Affairs here at TCI, and what that means is that I'm in charge of all the academics. It includes being in charge of all the teachers, and there are almost 200 teachers. They report to the deans, but the deans report to me. It means that I oversee any curriculum changes and enhancements. So if an instructor or dean wants to change a program, like a business program, if they want to make it better, then it would be something that, though it goes through a curriculum committee, I would be ultimately responsible for. So I'm basically responsible for the quality of all the academics here at TCI College.
Wow, that's a big responsibility.
It's a big responsibility. In addition, TCI is accredited by Middle States and New York State. And with that comes a lot of things that we have to make sure that we do here at TCI that make us comply with New York State regulations, and I'm responsible to oversee that to make sure that we're compliant.
Wow,
yeah,
that's a big title. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So, working in the school curriculum and before you was the dean of business and everything.
Yes.
How long would you say you've been working in the business community?
Okay, well, I've been here at TCI since 2009. I started as an adjunct and then became a full-time instructor. And then in 2011, I became dean of business and legal studies. Soon after that, I was also given the responsibility of heading career services when that person left. And soon after that, I also was given the position of dean of health sciences and technology. So at one point, I was doing 3 jobs. But basically, I've been in the business of academia since 2009. Before that, I spent 24 years in corporate America, basically working as an executive in a number of different companies.
Oh, wow. That's
so 24 years in corporate, and then since 2009 here. And in between, I was principal of a high school. So I've been...
Wow, you've been busy lately.
I've been a busy lady.
So, during this time and this experience, you must have conducted a lot of interviews, correct? I can assume?
Yes, actually I have, because when I worked in corporate, I worked in human resources.
Oh.
So I interviewed people as a human resources person, and I've also interviewed people as a manager having to hire for a job.
Okay, so what is one of the key things, because you have a lot of experience in a lot of different branches that you've been through, so if you can wrap up one key advantage, what is one key thing that you look for when you conduct an interview?
One thing I look for is confidence and ability to articulate your thoughts. That's very important to me.
Okay. And what are you expecting from the interviewer? Like, when the interviewee comes in and ready to be interviewed, what are you expecting from them? Are you expecting them to be what their attitude have to be?
Okay, all right. Well, I expect them to be confident, come in with a very positive attitude, smiling just like you're doing right now is perfect. They have to be able to explain what they've done, because with any job, there are a couple of things you have to prove to the person that you want to hire you.
Right.
That you know what you're talking about, that you have the experience. So the person has to come in prepared to answer questions related to what they specifically did in each of their jobs that makes them qualified for that job they're applying for. They have to come in with this, as I said before, the smiling, the confidence, that positive attitude, because that kind of person sets the tone for the team.
Right.
The things I look for that are a little bit deeper than those things which are kind of more superficial is I tend to ask questions about the person's ability to work in a team environment, the person's willingness to take on more than what the job is. That's really important. Not because you want to hire someone and immediately demand that they do more than the job, but because you want someone who is ambitious and willing to learn and want to do more, and that is how you get ahead. So I look for people who want to do their job and still want to grow and learn, because that's what, again, contributes to a really good team.
Right. I completely understand what you're saying. So how do you prepare for an interview?
How do I prepare for an interview?
Oh,
that's a good one. I hate being interviewed, but yes,
right.
that's a good, no, but that's a good question. Well, for one thing, the way I prepare, and I also advise others to prepare, is you always have to research the company that you're interviewing with.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever you can do, you Google the company. If you know anybody who knows anybody at the company, you talk to them. So it's very important that you first find out about the company. I also try to prepare in terms of, gee, what are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? I really have to think about that, because I don't like to talk about my strengths and my weaknesses, and so since I know that that's hard for me,
Right.
I spend time preparing for that. And ultimately, the stupid little things that go into preparing is, making sure I know where I'm going, and how long it's going to take me to get there, so that I'm not late. Those simple little things that people take for granted.
Right. Right. Okay. So that's a given interviews.
Mm-hmm.
How do you come up with the question?
How do I come up? It's interesting because there are two ways that I conducted interviews. One is very structured, where I actually will have the interview questions in front of me. And I've done that when I've had to hire for certain types of positions, and you want to make sure that you ask everyone exactly the same thing. Okay? So I just come up with the questions that relate to the person's ability to do the job. The other is what I call more unstructured, which is asking open-ended questions that will give me some insight into the person's ability to do the job. So I will sometimes start with, so tell me a little bit about your work history. That's just very open, and where do I go, where do I go? So it's not a trick question, it's to identify if the person is prepared and can collect their thoughts quickly and articulate what they've done in their work history. So the questions are either very structured or open-ended or a combination of the two.
Okay. All right. Well, we know that first questions is everything when it comes to a job interview, for the interviewer and for the interviewee. So as an interviewer, what is a complete when an interviewee comes in appearance-wise?
Okay. If they're not dressed professionally for the interview, they say the first impression is made within the first few seconds. And if you walk in through the door and if you're not dressed appropriately, if you're not dressed as if you were going to be interviewed, right off the bat I say, oh my gosh, this person is not prepared. Their body language will also tell me something about whether this is the right person or not, in the way that they hold themselves. I expect a handshake, as I also extend my hand as well, but there are certain things like walking in professionally dressed with a handshake, that sets the right tone.
Okay. And how do you feel about follow-ups?
I think follow-up is very important. One of the things that I know I always ask my students to do if they're looking for a job is to make sure that you send a thank you note or a thank you email. In either case, whatever style you choose is fine, but in either case, first you're thanking the person for the opportunity to have interviewed, but you also want to make sure that you use it as an opportunity to say, this is why I'm the right person.
Right.
So it's not in a long, long way, but in a sentence or two, based upon what you learned during the interview. As the interviewee, you're able to say, I can tell you, and the reason I'm the right person for this job is because A, B, or C. kind of short. So the thank you and the opportunity to sell yourself is important for follow-up. And even at the end of an interview, part of the follow-up is to ask the interviewer, can you tell me what the next steps are in this process? Okay, that's always a good question to have in your hip pocket, if the person doesn't tell you.
Right.
Because otherwise you walk out of it and you say, are they going to call me? Are they not going to call me? Wait, are they going to see 100 more people? Oh my gosh, what's going to happen?
Right.
And then you get a little bit worked up, and it's, nobody's important.